Hey, it's DM Dan from the future here. One of the things I care about most with the videos is the quality that I put out. But unfortunately in this episode, a couple of gremlins got in during the recording process, so the video and the audio was a bit choppy and laggy. I've done my best to salvage it, but it's not quite where I'd like it to be. Hopefully you can still follow what's going on, and it should be sorted by the next recording, which you'll find out about if you subscribe. Enjoy the video! Hello, good morning, good day, good afternoon, good evening. How are you all doing?
Good evening, Dan. Very good.
That was loud.
Good day
Thank
to
you.
you.
Thank you. I've been
Good.
practicing.
What time of day is it actually? Evening now. Isn't it?
Unspecified.
Yeah,
I mean, on
unspecified.
in the
Times
bowels of
loose.
the internet, it is all times and no time simultaneously. So, yeah,
We're
whatever time
outside
it
of
is,
time.
we're outside. Yes, we have eschewed the laws of reality and time, and so we're just
Reality.
gonna play some D&D. Yeah, you can't say that. Not in the
Oh,
first
yeah,
30 seconds.
30 seconds. I was literally just talking about it. I just broke the rule.
Oh, we're gonna have to bleep that out, aren't we?
Megan,
yeah.
Megan's
Actually,
fan.
yes.
Just can't get the players. Unruly.
Oh, you really
Unruly.
can't.
This is what kind of session this is going to be tonight, isn't it? Well, so that bombshell. Yeah. Who would like to play
On
some
that
Dungeons and
F-bomb.
Dragons? Yes.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
The world has been broken and remade. Our civilizations are shattered, our people divided. Yet there are those who would rise up to challenge the encroaching darkness.
Hi, my name's Carl. I'm playing Sir Carmichael Comstock, a Lorivar Cavalier Fighter.
Hi, I'm Meg. I'm playing Addy, a Keeper Druid Bard.
Hi, my name is Anton, and I play Victor, a Lorivar Gloomstalker Ranger.
Hi, my name's Lane. I'm playing Milia Sayralast, an Asavar Divine Soul Sorcerer.
My name's Tim, and I'm playing Galena, the Terran Sprite Alchemist Artificer.
And my name is Dan. I will be the Dungeon Master on this adventure. Whilst our world has been changed, we band together. Hope bright in our hearts. We push forward to reclaim what was once ours, and we shall be known as the Explorers of Elsewhere. When the eschaton tore through the world, wreaking havoc and destruction as Elsewhere was pulled apart and reformed into the fragile state it is now in, many witnessed their way of life crumble away, much like their cities. The Explorer Society have been lauded for their efforts to muster a concerted and organised series of expeditions out into the wild in order to reclaim Elsewhere, and the founding of New Prosper is one of the first successes. However, there are those, notably the Wolfkin, Keepers and Beast tribes, whose more nomadic ways of life allowed them to recover from the horrors caused by the end of the War of Unity Sundered. These peoples were already out in the world when it changed around them, and their hardiness saw them react quicker to their new surroundings than the civilized folk. For these individuals, the past year has posed a series of painful challenges, except they haven't had the time to avoid just tackling them head on.
And now we're gonna steal their shit.
No, we said we
And
weren't going to be
we'll trade it.
colonists.
Oh,
We'll trade an irrelevant number of beads for their stuff.
God. Oh dear, what have we done?
And so, you find yourselves stood on a wooden drawbridge at the entrance of what appears to be a walled settlement of some sort. You can see logs lining this somewhat circular town, if you could call it that. A town comprised of a number of buildings with thatched roofs, well-worn, trodden paths leading between the various buildings, interspersed with like living tents. To your left and right, you notice that this drawbridge is suspended over what appears to be almost like a moat of sharpened logs, stakes that jut from the ground. And ahead of you, within the village, town itself, you can see two aggressive-looking wolfkin flanking the young boy, the young scout who you followed here. And beyond them are two more individuals. A male wolfkin, pale-skinned and daubed in red war paint, and a towering wolfkin woman wearing an ornate horned helm, her lower body being that of a horse's. And in a relatively easy to understand accent, she says, "Who are you? Why have you come here?"
We are explorers.
She looks to the male wolfkin next to her, and he has adopted a powerful stoic stance. You can see that his hand grips the handle of the spiked shield in his he holds with his left hand, and hanging at his side is what appears to be a vicious-looking stone war pick. He doesn't appear to have blinked since you first laid eyes on him.
Can I step forward and just say we represent a settlement that we have set up nearby, about 2 hours walk, 10 miles or so. We represent a group of people called the Explorers of Elsewhere, and we're here to establish new frontiers, new routes, new towns, to start reconnecting some of the broken communities across the land. But we mean no harm, and we mean no intrusion. We followed your scout up here, and thought it would be a good idea to come and talk to you personally, to formally introduce ourselves.
"How do we know your words are not riddled with lies?" bellows the pale man.
You can check for yourself. We speak the truth.
You're more than welcome to send an envoy back to our settlement. And I, as a keeper, give you my word.
Me too.
Him too.
Addy, as you say that, you notice that the two guards flanking the end of the drawbridge look at each other and then back over their shoulders to this half horse, half woman. And the hybrid kind of wanders forward slightly, her hooves kind of leaving heavy indents in the dirt and mud underfoot. And you notice that grasped in her hand is what appears to be a relatively ornate looking spear, adorned with a number of kind of trinkets and baubles. And she looks at you for a moment, Addy, and then, "You are a keeper. From where do you hail?"
My tribe is called the Crove. Our settlement is a long way from here. It must be 100, 200 miles or more. My parents Duches and Nath. They were lawkeepers for our tribe. I joined the explorers to represent our people and to find out what I could about the new ways of the world. My tribe especially, they keep themselves to themselves.
Whilst Addy's saying this, can I have a perception check from everyone else, please?
Ooh. Perception. Let's see what I got. 17.
13.
4.
So, Milia, you find yourself kind of distracted by all of this around you, from the bloodied stakes either side of you to sort of like the very rugged and rough-looking wolfkin that are kind of staring at you all. But Galena, you notice that beyond this half horse, half woman, beyond the pale warrior, you see a number of like benches or pews even that kind of seemingly surround what appears to be a pile of skulls in a like a large stone. You would describe it as like a stone pan. But you also notice that stood next to this pile of skulls is a very elderly looking wolfkin man who's leaning heavily on a staff. There's a tattered shawl kind of draped over his head and a long unkempt beard kind of flowing down his front. And you notice that his head is kind of tilting from kind of left to right. But you get the feeling that he's kind of paying attention to what's going on. Victor, you also notice this individual, but you also note that there's a younger figure sat on some stairs leading up to a slightly higher part of the village behind it, in between what appear to be 3 unlit funerary pyres. This individual is studying you carefully, but you notice that rising from this young man's head are 2 curled horns, almost ram-like.
Keeper.
And the pale-skinned warrior walks up to the half-horse, half-woman and whispers something to her. She looks to him, she slowly shakes her head, and we know of your camp, and we have been awaiting this day for some time. Let them in. If they cause trouble, we will add them to the pyres.
If you don't mind me asking, you have quite a strange assortment of skulls over there. Do you make a habit of chopping people's head off when they come to visit? It would just be courteous to know if you do so.
There are the looks from the gathered wolfkin kind of don't seem to. Well, they're clearly not understanding this kind of. Was it humor? What's this Lorivar saying?
Yeah.
But yeah, the
Don't worry, Victor. Sure, you're not going to hit that standard of honor anytime soon.
Unlikely, yes.
but the horned helmeted wearing woman kind of nods, and the gate guards step forward to usher you in. And yeah, as you go, you notice that kind of hanging from their belts are very crude but very dangerous looking kind of flint axes and swords. What appear to be swords, but with a number of kind of sharpened like bones tied to the blade to give it almost a comb-like appearance.
Victor will try and shake their hands.
All right, good to meet you, Victor Kasprezak. A pleasure. Good to meet you.
As you hold out your hands, they look to you and snarl instinctively, and don't return the gesture.
With a pat on the shoulder. Yes, good, very good.
Dan,
Yes.
would I have, in my own sort of background, in my own tribe, would I have come across Wolfkin before? Would I have any sort of knowledge of their general customs?
So back home, I suspect. I doubt it, given how kind of cloistered your community was, where visitors were relatively rare. You might have seen like Lorivar just like meandering through the woods, but never any wolfkin. I mean, for those who, well, Addy for sure, but for anyone else who hasn't really encountered a wolfkin, I mean, obviously Frinka is a wolfkin. But yeah, anyone who's interested is more than welcome to roll a history check to see what they know.
If I've come across them in my reading.
From books, maybe, yeah.
Considering how close I was with Platinum and how diverse Glasmere was.
Mhm.
What about me? What can I do?
Have advantage for sure.
Yay!
Your biology's not really my thing.
Why do I need to know about people?
Hey, same as Victor.
19.
19.
I know a lot about people in terms of like their biology and what will make it start working.
And Addy, what's your history check?
Oh, let's have a look, shall we? 15.
15.
Hey!
Okay. So fundamentally, Galena, you kind of have an idea in passing, like social osmosis, but the Wolfkin as a group of people, they tend not to kind of interact with the other peoples of elsewhere too often. They usually kind of tend to keep themselves to themselves. They live very kind of nomadic lifestyles. They kind of travel and roam around the lands. They'll set up camps, stay for a while, and then seemingly without warning kind of pack up and move on. They are known for being fierce warriors, and wildly hardy and self-dependent. What you all know about Frinka, for example, she's very self-reliant. The majority of the Wolfkin that would have been in Glasmere, for example, would have been the ones that are more comfortable integrating with other cultures. But you've certainly heard of these kind of one of the terms that you've heard that isn't a great term to refer to them as, but wild Wolfkin.
Okay.
They you've heard some people kind of they're unpredictable, they're aggressive, they're bandits and raiders, they pillage, but sort of like looking around the way they present themselves here, you can sort of feel like you understand where this kind of worry and fear towards them comes from, but they seem quite amicable right now.
All right, let's go in.
Okay. So, as you make your way in, you notice that a number of kind of Wolfkin villagers are looking over their shoulders or kind of glancing at you from whatever it is they're doing. But as you make your way in, it very quickly dawns on you that there doesn't, for the number of buildings, and off to the east you can see collections of tents amongst the built large living tents kind of similar to the ones you have back at New Prosper right now, but a bit more kind of rugged. This seems like this settlement homes quite a lot of people, but there don't seem to be many people out and about. And certainly from so Victor, from your history check, you know that when it comes to being out in the wilds, like everyone kind of has to be constantly chipping in order to keep everything running and keep the settlement alive. But given the size, this place is a bit ghost town.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, as you wander in, the young scout is approached by this kind of thin, pale warrior who you hear him sort of like chastise the young boy before, who then kind of scurries off. But as you enter, this man with sort of like dark red war paint on his face, two kind of almost like teardrops around his eyes, with like lines coming down his cheeks. He just watches you with these piercing silver eyes, warily. But as the boy scoots off, who you assume to be the chieftain of the village, she kind of bows, which is odd when you see the horse legs kind of do it. She like bends one knee and dips down, and
please, welcome. My name is Kagekna.
Pleasure.
Welcome to Ekabosdia.
I will bow back as well.
Yeah, I'll try and return the gesture as best I can.
Bosnia.
so the woman looks to you, and Galena, give me a. In fact, everyone again who's interested, give me a nature check.
That thing I'm really good at.
My good nature.
Addy with a 15.
Yeah.
11.
17.
17.
17. So
Actually, hold on. I'm gonna roll this at disadvantage. I'm a city girl. I don't know shit. There we go. 4.
So, Galena, you've read about it. Victor, you've heard about it on your travels. Addy, you've heard the stories of these kind of legendary, kind of mythical creatures known as centaurs that are said to be part like a mix of like Lorivar, Asavar, whatever, and horse. And from the pictures, it always looked a bit odd. But standing in the presence of what appears to be one of these centaurs, you feel like this woman's presence kind of overwhelm you slightly. As she, with her spear hand, gestures you to the wooden benches surrounding the bowl of skulls. Please, she says, as she trots on past.
Nice place. I like the decoration. It's very nice.
Looking at the skulls.
As you walk around, you can see that the village isn't tidy in any way, shape, or form. There are piles of like crates and logs and stone and weapons just kind of scattered about in a relatively haphazard manner. But you also kind of get the feeling that it's almost like an organized chaos, that everyone in the village kind of knows where everything is, because everything, despite being strewn, is almost kind of in relative piles, like relative areas. But as you all kind of get ferried towards seats, your attentions are all focused in on this elderly wolfkin, the one with the sort of like a very light slate grey shawl. It just looks like ragged cloth that hangs over his head, hangs off his shoulders. And upon closer inspection, you realise that he also appears to have black fabric wrapped around his head over his eyes. And as he kind of leans on this, he's leaning on this staff with these thin, very thin, kind of emaciated looking arms that are daubed with white war paint rings around his forearms and upper arms. And as you sit, you notice that he's kind of moving his head and tilting it from left to right. And it dawns on you that he's listening to what's happening as opposed to looking. And he,
Oh, Kagekna. These are new folks to these lands, are they not?
you notice the centaur nod in response, and he,
Very good,
he says. And he walks forward to Victor, who sat in one of the most foremost seats. And sort of as he walks along, you hear things kind of rattling and jingling on his person. They sound like clattering bones, you suspect. But he reaches you and sort of like gets uncomfortably close, and there's a very herby, earthy smell coming off him. As he kind of, once again tilts his head from left to right, and then reaches out and goes to place a thumb at the top of your nose bridge, like just on your forehead. Do you allow him?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
what I was thinking.
So yeah, he places his thumb at the top of the bridge of your nose, and his fingers kind of wrap around the side of your head, and he
a hunter.
says,
Yes, mostly.
and he
Who can't find what he's searching for?
You are astute.
he wanders past and approaches Galena, and as he stops and he sort of like, it seems like he's looking over your head, and then he and looks down after making a little surprise noise, and he again reaches down with his outstretched hands to put his thumb on the top of the bridge of your nose. Do you allow him?
I'll not forcefully, but I'll block his hand with mine. And just say, some sort of magic there, is it?
The old man,
No. Maybe.
All right, let's see where this goes.
and he places his hand on your head.
A creator. Trying to create something that has been lost.
In a way.
And he sort of like gives himself a not bad Obama face. And then as he starts to cross over to the bench that Addy and Milia are sat on, you notice that he slows for a moment, and there's a look of concern on his face, concern and confusion. And he takes a deep breath, takes another step forward, and then his head turns to you, Addy. And he reaches out. Do you allow him?
Yeah, I bend my forehead towards him.
And as he places his hand on your head, he lets out a sigh.
Well, you're just very lost, aren't you?
I'd say that.
You're chasing someone.
And am I?
And the old man pulls his hand away.
I'm sure you'll find him soon.
And lastly, he turns to look to you, Milia.
Oh, my breathing has gotten like panic attack anxiety levels after hearing the incredibly accurate reads that he's just done from nothing.
And he looks to you. Well, he looks in your direction. And you notice his brow furrows. He starts tilting his head, but in a much slower and methodical way. And he turns and shuffles back to the skull pile.
Oh.
He gets back and you see he's kind of doing the same thing across the skulls in the skull pile. And then he seems to be chattering, talking to himself. Oh yeah, having a conversation with someone. And then he turns and
They're fine. Kagekna. They are fine. They pose. Most of them pose no threat.
and the centaur nods.
I would agree.
I feel like I pose a little threat.
Galina there gets a bit rowdy sometimes. A bit dangerous. Watch out. Especially if she hasn't eaten. Terrible.
The centaur kind of makes her way. So Kiketna makes her way between the benches, and kind of stands in front of you. And you say you're representatives of this explorers society, but why here?
We've been having some problems with our food. Have your people noticed the same?
You notice there's like a wave of concern, grumbling that spreads through some of the gathered wolfkin. And Kigekna turns to you, Galina, and no, our food is fine. What is wrong with yours?
It's concerning. Thought it might be something to do with the energy in the area. As I think someone might be tampering with it.
So you all notice that the old man is like he just has his head turned to look at the centaur, and it's almost as if she's trying not to look back at him. And you can see that it's visible on her face that she's torn. And you all hear this kind of grumble from behind you from the pale warrior. When a younger, softer voice rings out. It's not our food that's sick. And alongside the centaur, well, from the steps stands this figure. And as he approaches and stands next to this centaur, you notice that he's almost as tall as her, with an earthy green-brown hued skin, two curved horns from his head, and Addy, you notice hooved legs and a swishing tail. And you recognize this to be a young keeper.
Well, that's a surprise.
In my time here, I've learnt they're not the best conversationalists. And Addy, as you kind of look perplexed, everyone else, you're a bit confused because this keeper is not speaking in common.
Oh.
Addy, he happens to be speaking in Verdant.
Okay. I'm sorry. I haven't seen any of our kind, and since I left my tribe. What's your name?
The young keeper nods his head and... My parents named me Elmin.
I'm Dryada from the Grove.
The keeper kind of nods, and you know, certainly among the Grove, informing others, oh, by the way, I'm from the Grove, is a very important thing. But your home doesn't seem to faze him, or emotionally affect him in any way. He just kind of nods, like you told him what day of the week it is. And then you notice he switches to common as he looks to you, and my apologies, it's not very often that I get the chance to use my native tongue. My name is Elmin, and I suspect I will find myself here in the capacity of diplomat, perhaps. Translator, maybe. But please, tell me about this sickness that plagues your food.
It is a blight, and it is unnatural, and it is unlike anything I've ever seen. And it has infested our grain, and we are finding it difficult to find food enough to sustain our camp, and we are not as well fortified as this garrison here, and it is starting to get worrying because this land has changed so much, and I don't know how to deal with the new things that are out there.
Kagekna speaks up and says, how long has this blight been affecting you?
Good question, DM. How long would you say it has? How long ago was it that we were on the road? It
Month odd or
must have
something?
been months. Two months.
It's been 2 weeks since you founded, since you started setting up New Prosper. And
it was only a few days, right? Before that?
Yeah, you remember Nockenbock. Yeah, so when you eavesdropped on Nockenbock as a spider, when you were eavesdropping on Haladradis, really. That was pretty much the same. That was actually the same day that you decided to set down roots. So they were talking about it a fortnight ago. Perhaps it was happening a bit sooner, a bit earlier than that to have gotten to the point that it is, but certainly sometime.
So,
It was very close to the time that we came back with the crystals.
The old Wolfkin. Crystals? What are crystals?
that was out of character.
Okay. In which case, yeah, who's answering the centaur?
Yeah.
I think I'd be inclined to sort of say, like, first off, the answer, it's been at least a month, and we are finding hunting difficult. Our hunters, my friend Victor here, has been working flat out to feed our group, but
I mean, I've been kind of lazy here and there. I mostly let Frinka do the work, but I try my best.
She already works so hard.
Yes, I let her work. She likes it.
okay. Well, most of our hunters have been putting the effort in, but oh, what was I saying? The wildlife seems changed. Seems affected by crystallized growths. We're finding it more and more difficult to find pure game.
There's murmurs of agreement among the gathered wolfkin. Yes, we've found this also, says the centaur.
I see you are quite well guarded and stockaded here. How long have you been here, if you don't mind me asking?
Elmin looks over his shoulder at the centaur, almost as if he's asking for permission. We've been here. Well, Kegekna and her people have been here approximately 9 months, as I understand it. I've been here approximately 6. I wasn't expecting to be accepted among their number as readily as I was, and I am forever thankful.
If you have time later today, I would be very much interested in your story.
Elmin nods. It is a sad story, but if you're happy to hear it, I will happily tell it. As he says that, the old man kind of like starts shaking his head and,
No, that doesn't add up. No. I don't think that's the same thing. No.
And Kegekna looks to you all, and well, you specifically, Adian. We have a defensible village here. Ekabozdir was designed to be a more permanent settlement, but we currently have very few able-bodied people with which to man the defenses.
Danger?
What's happened here? Some of your people sick?
Yes, it is a grave sickness.
I have some experience in sicknesses and treatments and medicines. I could have a look.
The centaur nods. It is a curious sickness. And the old man butts in,
A sickness of the spirit.
and he's almost smiling. Like, the novelty of it. And Kegekna shuffles on her hooves a little bit, and the old man kind of nods and
It's fine. Only some of them are a threat.
he says,
It would benefit us to observe this sickness for ourselves, so that we might help and also prevent it in our own numbers.
Maybe we can try and sort out some sort of trade. We'd be very thankful for some food, and we can perhaps help your people.
Kegekna thinks about it, and she says something to Elmin quietly. The young keeper nods and kind of rushes off in like towards the north of the village, and sort of like she retreats away from you as the pale warrior kind of slinks around the side and begins kind of conversing with her. And the old man, who, from sort of like overhearing the other wolfkin talking, you've discovered that this old wolfkin's name is Dume. He just kind of seems to be oddly kind of looking in each of your directions, like one after the other. Every time he looks over to you, Milia, he just kind of like starts frowning and grumbling, and then kind of looks away again.
And when I notice he does that, I'm just gonna turn to Addy quickly and just quietly say, "Have you noticed what he's doing when he sees me? He didn't do the dumb thing with me, and every time he looks over, it's sad."
Amelia, did you want him to do the something?
Not really. It's a little strange that I was singled out to not, and every time he looks in my direction, he's acting very strange.
Well, he seems to know a lot of things. Maybe he knew that you wouldn't be open to it, so he didn't try.
Maybe.
Just hopped up next to Victor, and I'm having almost exactly the same conversation. I'm like, have you noticed he's being a bit weird around Melia?
Yes, quite odd.
Something's up with that girl, I tell you.
You know what? I think she's a robot.
A what?
A robot. Have you never seen a robot? It's like a
kind of bird is it?
automaton machine thing they make in the carnival.
Ah. I'll check it out. Maybe.
You think for a moment. Actually, roll me a nature check.
All right. 19.
Victor clearly doesn't know what he's talking about. But you wonder if he might be referring to golems, which were once used by goblins as like cheap labor before, like manufactured cheap labor, before the goblins were explicitly told not to do that anymore.
Yeah, seems reasonable. I feel like if I tell him this, it's not going to stick, so I'm just going to let him carry on.
Okay. So, sometime later, like a few minutes later, you notice Elmin the keeper returning with the young scout that you followed in. But in Elmin's arms, like draped over his arms, is a wolfkin woman. And the three of them kind of approach this kind of area in front of the pile of skulls. And Elmin very delicately places this woman on the ground. And you can see like Garim, sorry, the young scout has quite a dark complexion. And looking at the woman on the floor, it would seem that she would have a similar complexion if she hadn't been seemingly all but drained of kind of life and vitality in her flesh. She looks old. She looks almost like she's drying out, like she's being drained. And Elmin just sort of like kneels down next to her and just, like places a hand on her head and tries to soothe her as best he can. But the young boy looks to you and, "This is my mother," he says. "She's sick."
Oh.
Amelia, would you give me a hand to have a look here?
Yes, of course.
Would Arcana or Medicine be more appropriate for this, I guess?
What is it you're checking for?
I guess, first of all, I want to see if it looks like it's basically the same thing as what's happening to our food supplies.
Give me a medicine check.
For me, I have paid attention to her. It might be a sickness of the spirit.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to sort of determine if there's any sort of maybe magic that I have that might sort of be able to balance that out or like diagnose with that in that sort of way? Or seeing if I can reach out with the magic in some way?
Sure. So that would be an Arcana, yeah. So 13 on the medicine from Galena. A 10 from the Arcana from Milia. Galena.
Do I want to?
Oh. Do you want to use your Ace of RD4?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Ooh.
Ooh.
14.
14. Okay, so a 14 on the Arcana. Galena, off the back of your 13 medicine, this is not seemingly the same ailment that's afflicting your foodstuffs. The food at home is almost like it's rapidly putrefying or kind of decomposing or decaying.
And there's no necrosis on this lady?
No. She looks almost like corpse-like. But you can see that her breathing is very, very shallow. But her cheeks are sullen. Like the skin on her cheeks is sunken. She looks very frail. Milia, you with a 14, you suspect that whatever's happening here is inherently magical, but as you're looking, Elmin kind of softly says to you, whatever it is that's affecting her is affecting approximately 80% of the village folk. And more
all at the same time, or?
First a few fell ill, and we thought it was just some seasonal ailment, but soon more and more fell ill. And we're all falling into this deathly pallor. The shamans and herbalists have done all they can, but nothing we've thought of seems to work to rouse them from whatever is causing this.
The people who became sick later, had they spent time with the sick?
No. Just singly abandoned.
What about food sources? Have you been? Could it have come from what you've been eating?
Kagekina kind of steps in, and whilst we've had trouble hunting edible food, we have been able to. One thankful benefit is that those who are ill have had their appetites greatly diminished. Our viable food stuffs have been fine. We do not believe it is the food is not tainted. We do not believe it is that.
I'll pull out a small crystal sample in a vial, and say, do you know if any of them had been exposed to anything that looked like this?
You're holding out your crystal, yeah?
Yeah.
A crystal. The old man shuffles over. You notice taking a bit of a wide berth around Milia. And he looks to it and oh, God's blood. Oh, this is a powerful trinket you have there.
Yes, indeed. Do you know about this, old man?
He sticks his bottom lip out. No. Maybe. And for the first time in a while, the pale-skinned warrior, like you hear him kind of huff and snarl, like in a very feral, almost wolf-like manner, like a beast-like manner, and
Dangerous trinkets. The same trinkets used by the beast of death that harasses us.
Beast of Death, you say?
Doesn't have 3 heads, does it?
How many eyes does it have?
Just one. Just 2.
he says. Yeah,
1 eye, 2 heads.
They share it.
Luckily
Like,
for you, that's our Victor's speciality, putting these things in the ground.
It is a demon in mortal's clothing. It stalks
A demon
the-
with crystals growing out of its head.
The warrior thinks about it for a moment.
The demon seems to have an affinity with these crystals. And the sickness started around the same time as the demon stalking our lands.
We've come across similarly corrupted demons, monsters, call them what you will. Nothing that has caused sickness like this, but again, creatures that seem to have been corrupted by these crystals. Something that our party, that Galena here is looking at, is figuring out what the significance is of these things. Maybe we can help. We have defeated 2 of these monsters already.
Your boy over there saw us.
The young boy turns to the pale-skinned warrior, and it's true, Megrakan. I saw them slay a crystal monstrosity. And this
Very gracefully, too, I might add. Very, very gracefully and expertly.
Yes. Paddy loves the sea.
And the pale warrior looks to you and...
You have slain 2 dire beasts.
Yes.
And like
That's
he
what
looks
you
to you
call them.
he looks to you for a moment, and then starts like breathing heavily, like his breath is being caught in his chest.
You see, what happens if you make them float above the water? They're really easy to get.
And then he bursts into this raspy laugh, this condescending laugh.
They have killed 2 of the beasts. Well, we should throw you a feast for your celebration, for your accomplishments.
I mean, by all means.
That'd be great. I'm starving.
No.
The Megrakan kind of whispers,
The horror that stalks us wears the skin of a man.
and
He lurks in shadow. With a crack brings death.
Sounds gruesome.
Reaches out through the shadows and steals the life of others.
Oh.
Sounds scary.
Well, maybe you fancy showing us where this lad is?
the warrior kind of shakes the comment off and...
You will not be able to find him. He disappears into the air like the devil it is.
How have you managed to defend yourselves from him thus far?
Kagekna bows her head and... Unfortunately, we haven't. This demon tends to stay to the woodlands. We know of its arrival when we hear the sound of the baying cries of the dire beasts. And sometimes when we originally sent out hunters to try and intercept or investigate. and none of them would return. We would find them days later, with no injuries on them, bar a hole punched through their bodies. Like the creature reaches out, the demon reaches out and spears them with a shadowy finger.
Something sounds like something that you could do, Victor.
No, I'm not interested. I prefer like easier game like squirrels and rabbits and stuff like that.
I mean, I think we know a way that you can punch a hole in someone from a long way away and leave no other traces.
How so?
Victor!
You notice that all of the Wolfkin are looking at you, Victor.
It's like holding his rifle. I don't understand what you're talking about.
Victor, over your shoulder, you hear one of the Wolfkin sat behind you saying, "Do you think he's part demon as well? He can take someone's life."
I feel like he's draining mine every time I talk to him.
Maybe I am the demon you're looking for.
Oh God!
Have you considered that?
I'll shuffle away from Victor on the bench a little.
Wait, I'm joking.
Whilst Galida and Victor are kind of having this back and forth, Addie, what are you doing?
Yeah, Addie hasn't been able to take her eyes off of Elmin since he sort of made himself known, because although theoretically she knew that there would have been other keepers that would have left their tribes and would have sort of entered the world, there's also a small part of her that kind of thought and maybe slightly hoped that she was the only one. And also, another keeper also means that suddenly all that sense of responsibility and pressure is just flooding back, because now it's almost like there's someone of her own kind to be accountable to, and someone who might realise that actually she hasn't really been doing any of the job that she was set out to do and that was expected of her. But also mixed up in that is all these anxieties around the camp and the future of the camp and the sickness and everything. So I think she's just a bit of a whirlwind of an emotion. But as for what she's doing, she'd like to ask Elmin. Elmin, have you tried any of our healing methods on these people?
As you call out to Elmin and ask him this, you get about halfway through the sentence when your ears perk up. And you realise you can hear a haunting violin song somewhere in the village.
Oh.
And as you turn to look, you notice that sat on the palisade, the log palisade, is a figure in green, sat swinging his legs whilst playing a violin.
Oh.
And as you look and think, it's you, you hear over your shoulder Elmin say, it's you. And you notice that both of you are looking at the same person. Let's grab a quick break.
Love at first sight.
Oh my gosh.
I think. I don't know what's going
See you in a bit.
on. Yeah.
Oh.
It's come to my attention that sometimes, as a viewer, knowing what's going to happen to the characters ahead of time can heighten excitement. As such, I've decided to run you through a couple of the plot points coming up so you can see how things are developing. First up, we need to address Comstock and Haladradis. Because they've been spending so much time together, it's obvious that the relationship between them may or may not be romantic. Some say it's downright smutty. They've been doing all over town borderline debauchery. When Galena finds out, it goes absolutely crazy. Become a love triangle. She begins work on a weapon and all life as we know it, and to help goblins knock and Bach work by keeping their tools in working order. After seeing their massive hammers bring a more physical class more appropriate. Milia finds out Victor and Franca, father and daughter. She summons an ancient demon to change the course of history. Make sure to subscribe to the Explorers of Elsewhere channel for more hot plot heads-ups. Welcome back! You right?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
So, let's just jump straight back into it, shall we?
Back to our
Yes.
island of sanity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're all sat in a Wolfkin settlement village of sorts called Ekabosdir, and most of you are huddled around this Wolfkin woman that appears to have gone a bit grey. Meanwhile, Addie is Addie's attention is elsewhere as she hears a haunting violin melody drift across the air, seemingly coming from a figure sat on the log palisades around the edge of the camp. And as you thought the words, you've heard the other keeper, Elmin, say, "It's you." And you've turned to look at him. Addie, what do you do?
You see him. You hear him over there, and I point.
Elmin looks at you in shock. Everyone else who's looking notices that Addie is pointing at the walls of the village. And Elmin blinks a few times but no one. Wait, you? Huh? he sort of like gets up and wanders over to you. How are you? Yeah, he just looks a bit perplexed.
And I'm gonna sort of switch into Verdant.
Mm-hmm.
I know this man, this song. Is he part of your? Is he part of this settlement?
Elmin like thinks about it for a minute. And, no, he. I mean, I've known that person since I was young. How do you know him?
Same. I think my memory's always foggy when he's not around. We should go speak to him before he goes.
And
Quickly, and I sort of I head off because I know that from previous interactions, if I don't, you know, the sort of nature of this person, just he goes so quickly.
as you say this to Elmin and you turn to run towards where the stranger is, there's no one there.
Hockey mushrooms.
And Elmin kind of looks around, and there's this look of confusion on his face. It's a confusion you feel you share. And he's gone again, isn't he?
I'm not forgetting again. Not this time. Not this time. And I take out my notebook and I start scribbling furiously. Everything I can remember about his appearance, about the tune. I write down Elmin's name. He sees it too. Just anything I can remember.
Roll me a history check.
That is a 10.
You start making notes as fast as you can. And then it feels harder and harder to remember the details the more you do it. And to the point where when you kind of stop and you feel like it's almost painful trying to drag up the memories of what you just saw. And you look down at your notebook and all you've written is the song.
I look up desperately to Elmin. His face. Elmin, his face. Can you remember Can you remember his face?
Elmin, like his shoulders sink, and he like slowly shakes his head. I don't even remember his name. Do you?
No. Nor the song.
The young keeper sighs, and the only thing I remember is that he's been appearing more often ever since. And like the keeper like stops and like looks up to you as if he's just put his foot in it. Never mind, he says.
Meg, remind me, how much did you tell Galena about this? Because you were asking me to look into like music, I think, right?
I don't think this is something Addy would have outwardly said to anyone, mainly because
As an aside, you did mention it in the boat when you were.
Yeah, so
like,
I
earlier
mentioned
today.
that there was a song stuck in my head, and
Oh, of course, yeah.
yeah, and like I was trying to remember the tune, but yeah, this isn't something that I would have outwardly said, mainly because the memory's so foggy around it. It's like Addie hasn't even sort of let herself believe it's really real until now.
Well, Galena, you've certainly noticed, like you definitely noticed, like Addie just go a bit frantic and like start gesturing at the palisade and like shouting at the other keeper, who was also kind of equally panicking. And then seemingly at the same time, they both just stopped and just looked a bit dumbstruck and like confused and like looking at each other. And now you've seen Addie with a book out, and she's like. It seemed like she was struggling to write anything, and then she just kind of eventually just looked at her notes and just looked, utterly confused. And the young male keeper, is just looking a bit forlorn.
I'll hop up on the bench to get sort of vaguely, sort of close to eye line with them.
Uh-huh.
Like, Eddie, you alright? Looks like you had a bit of a turn there.
I'm fine, Galena. I'm fine. We were discussing the defenses.
Addie.
speak to you later in private. I promise.
Take care.
Elmin is just kind of looking at the spot where you were pointing at a moment ago, where you swear you saw someone sitting playing a violin. But he eventually just kind of turns away, shakes his head, and he quietly says, it wouldn't be as bad if I understood why he even appears to us.
I agree. I didn't think it was real. Think it was real.
The keeper notices it, so Galena leaves, heads back to the group, and he stops. He's sort of side-eyeing you for a moment, and it's clear on his face that he's weighing something up. And Dryadia, have you ever met a world spirit?
No.
He
No,
nods. That's that must be tough. I don't know why, but whoever that was has started appearing more often over the past month or so, I guess. Ever since Coraloro fell ill.
Horololo?
The keeper nods. Coraloro is the world spirit I look after.
You look after?
Coraloro is only a small, minor world spirit, but their power is still significant. And after the battles, after the turmoil, Coraloro decided to follow me like a lost child, and I became their guardian and they became mine. And Coraloro was with me when I came here. I was led here by a violin song. But and he pauses, he's clearly wrestling with something. Ever since Coraloro fell ill to this plague, the stranger has been visiting more often. I wonder if he's even taunting me.
You're telling me that a wild spirit is here and has fallen ill?
He lifts his hands up and
I
quietly
don't understand.
down.
Sorry.
There's a nearby glade. Coraloro is the reason why the Wolfkin accepted me. They saw it as a fortuitous blessing to be in the presence of what they deem to be a deity. But Coraloro's health is deteriorating, much like the village people of this place. And I dread to think what happens if Coraloro's vitality takes a severe turn for the worst.
This is not good. My friends, I know we're an odd bunch together, but we are They are genuine. I believe they are genuine and they are trying to help. And I would like to help as much as I can.
The keeper nods and, well, it's not me you'd have to convince. It's them, he says, and he gestures his head over to the gathered wolfkin who is still kind of crowded. Well, you notice that some of them are kind of stood back, Galina's over with Victor, but crouching over the prone villager woman is Melia, who, now that you're kind of stepped away, you notice is being watched by the old wolfkin Dume like a hawk.
I suppose I best come up with something good then.
Elmin nods. Victor.
Yep.
Based off what are you thinking? Based off of what Megrakan said about this demon in man's clothing.
Victor looks utterly unfazed, just looking around.
Mm-hmm.
But his grip on his rifle is very, 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 very tight. And he's probably tapping his foot very quickly.
Okay. Galina, what were you up to?
Probably taking out some of my notebooks and just flicking through things and trying to figure out what on earth is going on with this magical sickness, because obviously I've dealt with a fair bit of this kind of thing in my time, but this was all new. So,
So,
while I'm doing that, can I do an insight and just see if I notice that Victor is uneasy?
Sure.
Thanks. Nah.
Victor is as cool as a cucumber.
The tapping is just nothing.
Yeah.
So annoying.
Yeah,
Victor,
just his age.
can you stop that?
I'm sorry, what?
And Milia, so you're down on one knee, examining this wolfkin woman, and the young scout who you found out recently is called Garim. He's just he's doing that thing where he's just like, are you going to make her better? Is she going to be all right?
I'm going to do my best. I can't find any sort of thing that I can treat now, but I can boost her immune system a little bit, at least. And I'm going to just cast Enhance Ability.
Mm-hmm.
Bears Endurance, so target has advantage on Constitution checks and gains 2d6 temporary HP.
Nice.
Okay. As you kind of touch
6.
Garim's mother's shoulders as you channel this, well, it's like her collarbones as you channel this into her. You notice the colour begin to return to her cheeks, for example, and then she is able to take a deep breath as you give her some healing. And then as she exhales, you can almost feel the magic leaving her body along with the colour, like it's being siphoned off.
If I'll quickly take out a little eyedropper and just blip blip and use it to see if I can see any magical wavelengths in the air with detect magic. Does it? Does it look like magic is funneling away anywhere? Is there magic on this woman, or what's going on? Tell me this.
You see. Okay, so as you blink as your eyes sting for a moment, And as you kind of open them up, like your glowy kind of orange eyes just seem even more lustrous. As I can see colours. And you do it just quick enough that you watch as this sort of like evocative, like healing magic, this divine magic channels. You watch it almost channel from Milia into this Wolfkin woman, and then just seemingly the magic is just drawn from this woman into the ground and just kind of disperses away.
What the hell?
Like the ground.
Is there any other magic on this woman's body, like a curse or something? Like,
it's more the thing you notice is that she seems almost devoid of mana.
almost like a cold spot on thermal or something.
Yeah. Because mana exists in all living creatures and beings. And you've, for all intents and purposes, you just watch Milia fill the bucket up. And it's all just drained straight out the bottom.
There's a hole in the bucket.
Yeah, there's that.
But apart from that, you can see that there's an aura of magic kind of floating around Dume and his staff. But otherwise, looking around, just the area just seems, for want of a better phrase, desaturated.
Okay. So even the people who seem okay are less than usual, you'd say.
You'd say so. It's at moments like these that you turn and look and you realise, like, the bushes are lacking a bit of colour. The dirt and ground beneath your feet has a more of a grey pallor than you would expect. Like, something odd, for sure.
Just on a whim, while I've got this going.
Yes.
If I glance where Addy and Elmin were looking and do it, is there anything left over there?
As you glance over, you notice small motes of light. It looked for a moment, you think, oh, why are there fireflies in the morning? Like at lunchtime kind of thing. And then they just kind of scatter away. And as you watch them float across the sky, they seem to be going in a northwesterly direction.
Interesting.
Kagekna interrupts your thoughtfulness and like leans down to place a hand on your shoulder, Milia. It's okay. You did your best. And Kagekna looks to, like, calls to Elmin, and Elmin gives you a look, Addy, as he kind of jogs over and scoops the Wolfkin woman up. Garim, the young scout, is she not going to be better?
I've upped her immune system up for a little bit, so she's not going to get worse, at least for a while. That seems to be all I can do at the moment. I don't know what's going on.
We'll find out something. You can cure anything with enough work.
Kagekna kind of nods and well, thank you for trying.
Of course.
We need to begin preparing food. for those who are sick. So, you know where we are, and we know where you are.
Just out of curiosity, what sort of time of the day is it? Is it?
It's lunchtime-ish, yeah. You were down in the boats on the sea for a few hours this morning, and then it was a couple of hours wander to here. Yeah, the sun's pretty much overhead.
So tell me, this rabbit demon of yours, where was it seen last?
So Megrakan, the pale warrior, he's just looking at you with this kind of borderline disgust on his face. And but one of the wolfkin sat behind you, loitering nearby. That's the thing, we don't know. We never see him. We just hear the crack, and then someone is dead.
I think.
Like a click of the fingers.
I think it's best that we head back to our base camp for now and report to our leaders the existence of this place, if that is agreeable to you, Kagekna. There. Out of character.
Nailed it.
Nailed it. Kagi, can we call you Kagi?
KG? Can we do KG?
Sea Dog?
KJ?
Yeah, KG. Oh, KG. Kagekna. Get my teeth around that one. Yes, I think it's a good idea if we report back to our settlement, at least so if our hunters are come out this way that there's no miscommunications to be had. But we really thank you for your hospitality, and we'll have a sit and think, and then come back to you tomorrow.
The centaur considers your words and then nods.
And then I say to Elmin in Verdant, can I meet you later tonight?
Boom, boom, boom. Elmin looks to you for a moment, and sort of like his kind of yellowish green eyes kind of glint, and then absolutely, he says, back in Verdant.
Is there a place nearby that is secret, secluded, safe?
He thinks, and approximately 2.5 miles west of here, there are a set of standing stone ruins. I shall meet you there. Be safe. Be careful. The dire beasts prowl at night.
I shall see you at midnight.
And the keeper nods.
Okay, let's get this party on the road.
Okay. So
Thanks for the tea. Very nice.
Is Amelia saying, like, does Amelia want to do anything before she leaves?
No.
Okay.
She feels really guilty that she couldn't help.
Sure. In which case, yeah, Elmin, Garim, and Garim's mum kind of wander back off to where he found them. And the four of you are fundamentally escorted out of the village by the various guards and the click-clopping hooves of Kagekna behind you. And as you kind of get to the drawbridge and look back over your shoulders at the gathered wolfkin, you begin the journey west. It's pretty much a couple of hours journey, give or take, the same as what you travelled to get here. but at least this time you don't have to kind of schlep across the sands of the beach of the coast. Sure enough, about halfway, about a quarter of the way, Addy, you spy a set of standing stones, which, large rectangular kind of block stones just stacked up in like crude arches in a give or take a circle. It's kind of standing on a nearby hill. But before long, as the sun begins to set, as like evening encroaches, you find your way to the very familiar sights and sounds of New Prosper. And as you come
AKA Dribblesville.
Nope.
as you approach through the trees to the north of the settlement, you can hear the sounds of sort of like the wood being chopped in the lumbersmith, and the clanging of metal from the blacksmith next to it as Knock and Bock do something, whatever it is.
Work.
And as you start kind of making your way in, sort of like underneath all the trees, sort of like around, as you walk past Knock and or Bock, you're not sure, Milia, shouts out, "Oi, you! Actually, yeah, you!
Huh?
Been looking for you all day."
Okay.
So, me and my brother was talking, and we've known you for about, 6 weeks?
Yes.
We just feel a bit sorry for you.
Yikes.
Yeah.
How so?
Because, you look like an intelligent girl. But we couldn't figure out why you've spent 6 weeks lugging around that bloody book. So, we made you this. And what the goblin holds up what appears to be a leather harness, like a leather strap harness with a number of chains connected, and you realize that it's a setup that you can wear and chain the book to your back, almost like a backpack.
Oh.
Because I've seen you do all the flashy shit with one of your hands, so I'm expecting you'll be able to do twice as well if you, I don't know, could use your other one. How's that sound?
That actually, that's an incredible idea. Thank you. I'm going to take it. I'm going to give whoever it was a hug.
What? Again, you're still not sure whether it's Knock or Bock because
Yep.
they look identical. But okay, yeah, okay.
Stand back up.
Right.
Thank you.
Well, if you ever, need some help or common sense, come speak to us. All right, okay, off you go.
Okay. Not sure on that last one. Okay.
And as you make your way past the blacksmith, squeeze between the blacksmith and the storehouse, which you all know is currently just full of mainly kind of, what's left over of some building supplies. You know that currently it's being filled up with some stone for advanced construction, because at the moment you stand in the midst of 4 buildings, so the lumbersmith, the blacksmith, the storeroom, and what could be described as the town hall, with its attached watchtower. And in fact, one of the guards kind of waves down to you, the caravan guards waves down to you from the watchtower, which is just a kind of a wooden affair. The buildings around you are all kind of relatively quickly constructed wooden buildings, but you know that over time some of these will be replaced with stone walls to give them extra durability. And as the townsfolk kind of give you a nod and say hello, you pass by the town hall, and peering through the window, you can see a old man with an eye patch, currently in what looks to be a less than subtle argument with a Majani wizard, with a Davin kind of stood between Comstock and Haladradis, just like trying to make sense of the argument. And as you kind of chuckle to yourselves, Addy, you hear a as Horse comes bounding up to you, knocking you over, like jumps, knocks you over, and gives you a big slobber over the cheek.
Oh, get off, you big pillow.
He rolls off you, and you hear the sounds of sort of like bleating and other farmyard animals as you pass the what is effectively the farm stables type thing, and there are some animals kind of grazing in the pens out back, and the smell of cooking bread wafts out to you from the nearby bakery, and as you kind of take in the sights of where New Prosper is after only a fortnight, you hear the door behind you open, and Haladradis steps out alongside Comstock. And as they look to you, now that you're back home, have you got any kind of thoughts? Starting with Victor, have you got any thoughts on what you've discovered today?
Victor's definitely thinking about it quite a lot, and would have, on the way back, been very, very intent on the path they took and looking at the surrounding trees and scenery, trying to pick out details and signs. Mm-hmm. Would have, if possible, ever so subtly gone up to a tree and just cut a V mark in a few of them.
Okay. Galena, what's going through your mind as you reach home?
I'm thinking that we should talk to Frinker about these wolfkin as soon as possible, and also that it's about time me and Haladradis hashed some things out.
Okay. And Addy?
I think Addy is wrestling with thoughts of how much she should be revealing to her comrades, her friends, about what she's learnt about the wild spirit and also about the re-emergence of the stranger.
Okay. And finally, Milia.
It's me. You know that kind of look that someone gets on their face when they're very clearly trying to hold back tears, but they've kind of they have to be strong for people because Milia is kind of walking forward, not really sort of. If someone talks to her or waves, she takes a second to realize, and it's kind of stunted, and she is heading for her tent.
Okay. No doubt, with the final words that were said between you and the old wolfkin Dume, because just before you left, the old man reached and grabbed you, and as you turned to look at him, the blind wolfkin looked up and, "There is a darkness within you, girl. A sort of darkness that brings only pain. Have fun with that," he says, and he lets you go.
I fucking love Dume.
Yeah, Dume's the best.
So, Milia, as you start making your way back to your tent, and Horse the bear wanders over to the nearby tree stump with a mushroom growing out on it, and just sort of leans back and starts scratching his back on the stump. Haladradis steps forward and, so, what took you so long? And with that, we'll call it that.
Hey.
Bird. Mysteries. So many mysteries.
Mysteries.
So many mysteries, so little time.
Yeah, we've got a nice little tongue going on.
Yeah. Gosh, Dan, why did you have to make Elmin such like a horned thirst trap, eh? Look at him. His little glowy eyes and his like fuck me boy band hair.
You're gonna meet him at midnight. We know what's going on.
Yeah.
Subtle. Oh, elsewhere.
Yeah.
Wait, why is the Elsewhere and Elsewhere music playing?
Uh-oh.
Elsewhere.
Oh no.
Don't you do this?
The figure scratches his chin. Why, oh why, would you go and do that? He says, as he peers at a tree with a small V carved into it. I didn't think you would consider this to be such a game. Well, I do love a game. And as the figure stands up and throws the rifle over his shoulder, he stops and turns to look in the distance. He unsheathes his rifle, peers through the scope, and sees 3 cloaked figures cresting a hill in the distance. Well, how curious.
Hudo.
Congratulations, everyone,
But
You fucker.
Hudo.
on completing episode 9.
Damn it.
That was
Hey!
2-in-1 slap at the end there, huh?
Oh boy.
So, there we go. Yeah, we did it. Hooray for us.
I'm having a great time. None of my haunting
Yeah.
backstory stuff happening at all. I'm all good.
Not
Yeah,
yet.
that's just happening elsewhere in the world.
Nah.
As it is fine. If you can't see it, it's not real. So, yes, congratulations, everyone. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for playing.
Thank you, Dan.
That's all right. You are more than right. I basically do this for free. So, if you enjoyed everything that you saw, we've got loads of other stuff that's very similar to this, and some stuff that's not so similar to this. And you should watch it all.
Most of it's better.
If you like what you saw, make sure to leave a comment on what it was you liked and hit the like button. Because we upload so regularly, it would behoove you to click the subscribe button and the bell icon for notifications of when we upload new stuff. Because depending on when this comes out, we may or may not have started a brand new live stream.
For what?
What?
For the relaunch of Tavern Between Dimensions. So, yeah, if you want to just spend some quality time with us, make sure to go check that out. But apart from that, thank you all once again. I'll see you next time.
See ya.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Doodly bye. With the discovery of another settlement nearby, with a resident world spirit no less, our explorers may be able to get some answers about this strange new world. Will our explorers figure out what's ailing the people of Ekabosdir? Come back next time to find out. Thanks for making it to the end of the video, we truly appreciate it. The Tavern Between Dimensions has now launched, live streaming every other Friday, but if you missed it, you can watch the catch-up videos on the Wednesday after the recording. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button and comment down below on how long you think it will take for Addy and Elmin to get together. And besides the tavern, we're releasing lots of regular content, such as this video here, and you can keep up to date by subscribing here and hitting the bell icon for notifications. So, that's it. Once again, thanks to you for watching, or listening for you podcast heroes, and as always, stay safe and keep exploring.